Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. But they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. That we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. The things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out.
Proverbs 25. These are also proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied out. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. The heaven for height, and the earth for depth, and the heart of kings is unsearchable. Take away the dross from the silver, and there shall come forth a vessel for the refiner. Take away the wicked from before the king, and his throne shall be established in righteousness. Put not forth thyself in the presence of the king, and stand not in the place of great men. For better it is that it be said unto thee, Come up hither, than that thou shouldst be put lower in the presence of the prince whom thine eyes have seen. Go not forth hastily to strive, lest thou know not what to do in the end thereof, when thy neighbor hath put thee to shame. Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another, lest he that heareth it put thee to shame, and thine infamy turn not away. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. As an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, so is a wise reprover upon an obedient ear. As the cold of snow in the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that send him. For he refresheth the soul of his masters. Whoso boasteth himself of a false gift is like clouds, and wind without rain. By long forbearing is a prince persuaded, and a soft tongue breaketh the bone. Hast thou found honey? Eat so much as is sufficient for thee, lest thou be filled therewith, and vomit it. Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest he be weary of thee, and so hate thee. A man that beareth false witness against his neighbor is a maul, and a sword, and a sharp arrow. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth, and a foot out of joint. As he that taketh away a garment in cold weather, and as vinegar upon nitre, so is he that singeth songs to an heavy heart. If thine enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he be thirsty, give him water to drink. For thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head, and the Lord shall reward thee. The north wind driveth away rain, so doth an angry countenance a backbiting tongue. It is better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman and in a wide house. As cold waters to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far country. A righteous man falling down before the wicked is as a troubled fountain and a corrupt spring. It is not good to eat much honey, so for men to search their own glory is not glory. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
Good evening. It's Monday, October 20th, 2014. This is the Watchman News, and I'm your host, Mike Callahan. Hope you had a good evening, good weekend. Mine was fairly well. I hope my girlfriend doesn't see the ending of that. It's not good to eat much honey. She's been sick, and I've been telling her to eat honey. So, honey, eat your honey. Anyway, we got a lot of different news for you. I don't have a lot of links up. I figured we would go to a couple different websites and pull the news from it. I do have some that I had prepared. If you notice, we started the show with doubts once again, and Mr. Duckworth has given his approval for us to use that as an intro song. So I am in the process right now of compiling a video for that, and it ought to turn out real nice. I've been working all day learning how to use this new software that I'm using. I used years ago. I used an older version of it, but there are so many new and nice options that it contains now. So I want to bring you a nice intro video and kind of give it a new look. And then after I get that done, I do have the Survival Smokes e-cig website pretty well done. Have to work on the About Us page. Me and Jennifer are going to be doing that together because it will be information about the both of us. So that's pretty well done. It's already fully functional. You can order from the site, and the link's down in the About tab if you are a vapor and would like to check out our juice. So anyway, what I was going to say is as soon as I get this video done and compiled, which might take me a few days, could take me a little bit longer because I want to do a really good job on it. After I get that done, then I would like to move on to building a website for the Watchman News. I figured that would be pretty nice, and it will probably have a subdomain. That should be fine. That shouldn't be any kind of an issue. I just would like to give it its own little website. So it's probably not going to be real big frills or anything like that, but I'm probably going to throw a forum on there. And a few other just little nice features and stuff. A little place for truthers or whatever you want to call us, preppers, survivalists, whichever name you want to fit under, we can go to. We can have different sections in the forum and discuss different topics, whether it be prepping or survival, alternative energy, or what the latest is going on with whatever subject. So I figured it'd be a nice little place for us to go. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on with suspicious observers, and we'll go from there. And I also have a couple videos on the on what happened when Comet Sighting Spring went past Mars. It was a pretty remarkable thing. So I got a couple different videos, probably a couple different views. I've watched one of them a couple of times. I haven't had the chance to watch the one from Suspicious Observers yet, so it'd be nice to hear his view. And but we'll start out with Suspicious Observers, his normal daily report. So without further ado, here we go.
Good morning, folks. Well, Sighting Spring came by Mars. I watched the close approach live on SLU, but had no visibility of my own due to cloud cover. We were discussing the event live on Skype, me and Mr. Too Tough. There were no major electrical interactions visible from Earth, but the data is downlinking from satellites and rovers at Mars, which we should have in a couple of days at most. Quickly reviewing the current watch periods, in late September we eyed October 14th through the 25th as a time of major upticks in flaring and earthquake activity. Pretty much right off the bat, a new sunspot group began firing M flares from the eastern limb, even before becoming visible on the Earth-facing disk. After 3 M flares, it crested into view and gave us an X-class solar flare, but without major ejecta. The earthquake watch started with a bang as a 7 magnitude earthquake struck Central America. Since that time, however, larger quakes have stayed away while the unusual location rumbling has prevailed. This continued over the last 24 hours as the West Pacific continued its normal moderate levels, but with a larger than average quake south of New Zealand near Antarctica. The Caribbean uptick has shifted east and can now be found in the central Atlantic Ocean, and California joins in with an above average quake as well. Will the bigger quakes stay away for the remainder of the watch period? Well, the current corona holds about 3 times as powerful as the one exiting up north now, and it will be a good test. Part of the solar uptick is based on a sunspot ramp as well, not the least of which came in the form of one mega active region with dozens of sunspots contained within her. Looking at the Earth-facing disk as a whole, we'll begin with that new group that popped up nearly center disk. Got beta complexity, but magnetics are still separated. Meanwhile, our behemoth group has a number of mixing spots. I think we can call this delta in at least 3 locations, the newest of which being between the 1 and 2 o'clock positions from the main umbral core. Also got a new spot cresting, so near-term peak in number should happen soon. New gamma ray burst rang out from Draco this morning. Solar wind showing some rise to speed and density in yellow and orange. No magnetic instability as of yet, however. Flaring is already charging back upward with an M3.9 class solar flare this morning. We'll analyze that in the evening news tonight. But in addition to watching for flaring activity, there are a number of filaments active on the disk, like this one down south. These can erupt and make as large of CMEs as flares themselves, so these are always worth keeping an eye on. Big boy coming in up top. Interesting opportunity to name Rosetta's landing site. They are asking for public opinion. And given that their lander is called Philae, the resting place of Osiris in Egypt. I think Osiris is a fine name for the lander's resting place on this chariot of the gods. Quickly coming to China, where a landslide was captured on dash cam. Also catches one man getting very lucky not to be hurt. Actually, it captured that twice. We also have footage coming in from flooding in the Canary Islands. Lots of tourists and vacationers got caught in these storms and flash flood events. Some fairly significant damage occurred as well. We've also got an animation from NOAA showing just how Japan's typhoons end up crossing all the way across the North Pacific and affecting the U.S. West Coast. Let's kick it to the current tropics watch, with Anna still skirting south of Hawaii, set to swing north after getting past the islands. Not that it left them alone, however. In the U.S., we've got the Gulf moisture flowing due west into the desert, and a northern pole breaking northeast up towards the Ohio Valley. That makes tonight's watch zones, U.S. Southwest, and on the convergence up to the north as well. Major moisture flows will once again have rain coming down over wide portions of the territory here, but where it meets even more heat and moisture from the south, we'll have our thunderstorm warnings this evening. Down under, we've got flood watches in the southern corners with a low atop Perth there. And we have another convergence where easterly flows hit a wall right over top of New Zealand. Mobile Observatory Project is in Madisonville, Tennessee today. The meeting at Hiwassee College is a public event if anyone can make it. We'll trek west the next couple of days. Head over to observatoryproject.com for times, locations, and other details. Got shots of our star to close. Eyes open. No fear. It's 6:35 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
And thanks to Ben Davidson with Suspicious Observers once again. Wow, I'm a little wore out. I've been doing a lot of watching tutorials and reading information on using that software. It's got me a little bit scatterbrained today. But anyway, I guess we'll go right into about the sun and what's going on with that. And there may be a couple different views here. I would not be surprised. Again, I've watched BP Earthwatch's video on the interaction between comet sighting Spring and Mars, but I have not seen the Suspicious Observers version yet. So we'll see in a moment if the two differ. So anyway, here's BP Earthwatch and what he had to say about the passing, the close passing. The event. That's what I was trying to think of. Oh, I love it when I can't think of words. Here we go.
October 19th, 2014. As you're looking at Mars and comet sighting Spring, as it has passed by the comet, you see that just in about 4 o'clock position there. Look what happens to the atmosphere at Mars. Now, they were waiting for the tail. Remember, the comet passed by and its direct center path was did not hit Mars. It was the debris trail. Also, we had that other object by this time would have been dead center of the planet. In other words, that glare that we're seeing may have something to do with this. But look at this. The atmosphere explodes almost like you see a coronal mass ejection leaves the sun. Now, that has a lot to do with why NASA and the other European space agencies, China, Russia, was watching this thing. Check it out again. This came from an independent telescope. I'll link you to the doctor that caught this guy. It's amazing. We'll go in and I'll look at it in a different color. Notice the specks that appear almost as debris. And if you watch the SLU event, they said it would be about an hour until the tail passed by. Look at that explosion. I wonder what that did to the electronics on the satellites that are surrounding Mars. Think about that. We'll find out with the images that come in, but it's a quick video, guys, because it was very short, but this is right in the middle of one of those explosions. Imagine that happening to the atmosphere of Earth. They said there may be some auroras on Mars. This is way past an aurora. This is an ignition, almost like a flashpoint of their atmosphere. We know they had carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen from the MAVEN images. But what caused this, I don't know. Will it change the atmosphere? Was that all the hype? Is that why they were watching it? They talked about it, and MAVEN is designed to observe those very things. But with that much arcing, I don't know what could have survived that. We'll find out. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.
So that's what BP Earthwatch had to say about what happened from the video that he had seen. And I'm suspecting, I have a very high suspicion that Ben Davidson is going to have a different view on it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I have not seen his video. I'm actually anxious to see that. I didn't realize he made a video on it until I was getting ready to get the news set up. So let's go ahead and see what Ben's got to say, and then we'll go from there.
So, folks, we saw a sighting spring come by Mars yesterday, and at the time of close approach, there really wasn't much to see. There are a few non-starters and one legit question in this event thus far. I'm speeding up the video of the next minute to show the little light effect just to the bottom left of Mars, the circle. The virtual telescope got a great single frame of that circle and a few others. Mars with the vertical light bloom, and then all the light effects that come with looking through Earth's atmosphere into space. You can actually do this with a light bulb too, but let's see some images where the sun does something similar. This is the first non-starter of the sighting spring event that people are already freaking over, calling it a magnetic ball of energy. Then we have something else. This video seems like it might show a discharge event as the comet, which is to the bottom right, leaves its close approach. The problem here is that it looks a bit more like a flashover than an actual discharge or explosion, especially because it looks like a background star to the top left flares as well. If that is the case, then this is absolutely nothing. The real interesting thing happened on the SLU live feed. Just as a bright light appeared at the bottom rim of Mars, which was about 30 minutes after close approach, they quickly switched the camera view, and when that bright ball doesn't go away, they changed the feed entirely. This was as annoying as the commercial break 40 seconds after close approach, and it also makes you wonder exactly what happened. Two counterpoints. One, they know what people on the internet are like and might wanted to have abated a scare storm over what might potentially be a camera effect. Second counterpoint, thousands of people all over the planet were watching, and thus far, we haven't seen anything better than what you saw here. It is less than 24 hours since the event at this point, so data will be coming in for days and days. If anyone has better footage or links to other people's work, please share them so we can properly analyze this event. It will be nice to see the NASA and ESA data when it finally comes in, but until then, try to be patient and not freak out over quick conclusions you see online. The cutting of the feed was suspicious, but that's all we can say at this point. No magnetic ball of energy, no explosions. Be patient. The data will come.
That's why I appreciate Ben Davidson. He's always straight to the point. He brings logical answers to questions. And he actually pointed something out that I hadn't seen anybody else point out, that what he questions. However, he doesn't believe that the other issues that were talked about by many others are an issue at all. So anyway, let's go ahead and get on going and get on with the news. I guess it's probably going to be a more of a what's going on in police brutality news episode. There's not much I can tell you that I know as far as Ebola. Apparently, there's some schools that have closed. There are schools that sent out caution notices to students. I believe there's a school in Oklahoma that sent letters home warning parents that their some of their staff had been on that ship. There was a ship with that lady. So yeah, there really though it does appear that there's a media blackout, and I haven't been able. I've been really busy today working on that intro, so I hadn't been able to really dig into a whole lot. And there's not a whole lot we can dig into. It seems there is a total media blackout, and it's not just Ebola that's being blacked out. But what about all the stuff that's going on across the pond over there? You know, we're just not hearing much. That's going on in Syria. We're not hearing much at all. I mean, it's just weird. It seems like the news has been just repeating old stories over and over. And I know one story. There's a lady that I guess is. I've never read the story, so I don't really know any details. But it would seem that maybe she had chose to take her own life on a certain point in time. Which I didn't know that was even possible. From what I understand, she's terminally ill from just reading the headlines. But I've seen that get brought up again into the news. Ferguson has been brought up into the news nonstop, and it's almost humorous. I mean, none of this bad news is humorous, but it's interesting because there's one person that's saying, you know, Ebola is stealing the story about what's going on in Ferguson, and even going as far to ask the question if Ebola is a cover-up or a cover story or a diversion tactic as to what's going on in Ferguson. And I believe that's highly biased. I really seriously do. I would think, if anything, that might be, I think that might be opposite. Because I really don't think that they're definitely sitting on stuff on news and information, and they're not so much with Ferguson. They're coming out and they're basically, I mean, from the way it appears, it's like almost they're basically telling people now that this Darren Wilson is going to walk, and more or less they're preparing for that to happen. So, and I've read articles from everything from the military being involved to oh goodness, I've read a lot. So communities gotten together and thought of evacuation procedures and everything else. So I think it's pretty apparent what is going to happen in the Ferguson case, or at least this part of the Ferguson case. So we'll see. Time will definitely tell. But I definitely don't think I don't think Ebola is a distraction for Ferguson. I think, if anything, it might be the other way around. So let's get on with some fun stuff about our lovely government and all that stuff, because we do that well here. Oh, these get more and more frustrating every time I see it. I've seen a friend of mine post something about cell phones and government monitoring cell phones, and saying we'll only have one. Yeah, or maybe it was just his comment about maybe we'll only have one phone available, and that'd be a quote unquote G phone, which would be a government phone. And I thought it was kind of humorous because we really were already there. Look, everything we have as a choice is an illusion of choice. Okay, whether you want to eat General Mills or Post or whatever brand of cereal, Malto-Meal, it doesn't matter. Whatever brand of cereal you choose, you're still going to eat the same GMO and chemical-laden cereal, no matter which brand, type, size, or anything else that you buy. You know, yeah, it may taste different. I guess that's a choice. but you're still getting the same junk and putting it in your system. And I eat cereal, so I mean, I'm not putting down people that eat cereal, but I'm just saying, you really don't have a choice. When you vote, you really don't. Most of these higher up people are not elected, they're selected. And I think for the most part, those of us that do any searching for the truth or even critically think whatsoever understand that by now. So, as far as whether you choose an Apple iPhone or a Samsung Android or an HTC Android, or it doesn't matter if you're AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile, it does not matter. It doesn't. Sorry, just an illusion of choice. Anyway, FBI director says government should force Apple and Android to share encrypted user data. In a talk late last week at the Brookings Institute, FBI Director James Comey lamented that recent announcements of Apple and Android that they would be encrypting user data. Though the FBI has been vocal about its objections to this, Comey took a step further in his speech. He said that companies should be developing law enforcement intercept solutions during the design phase, suggesting that private companies should tailor products to government surveillance desires. He also suggested that Congress might have to force this on companies. Maybe they'll take the hint and do it themselves. Look, this has already been done, okay? There's everything that you use for communication has back doors in it. It is a fact. Ask a programmer, they will tell you. One way or another, the director assumes his agency will get what it wants. Already has. The FBI has already thoroughly accessed user data through data mining NSA collections, though it submitted 1,800 requests to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court last year alone. The FBI wants more, and wants it legislated by the federal government. In addition to believing it is acceptable for FBI to pry data using the force of government decree, Comey also diminished the notion of data encryption in general at his talk, where no tech experts were asked to participate. He argued that it is a marketing technique. And that's all it is. When you see something like that, it's for marketing. Encryption isn't just a technical feature, it's a marketing pitch. It's the equivalent of a closet that can't be opened, a safe that can't be cracked, and my question is, at what cost? While he acknowledged that Apple and Google were responding to user demand, he implicitly dismissed the validity of such demands by insisting that Congress allow the FBI to spy anyway. He criticized the very demands that he claims to respect by arguing that if the challenges of real-time interception threaten to leave us in the dark, encryption threatens to lead all of us to a very dark place. Perhaps it's time to suggest that the post-Snowden pendulum has swung too far in one direction, in a direction of fear and mistrust. While private companies are responding to user demand, the government has thus far done little to respond to citizen concern over domestic spying, ignoring the main article the NSA claims allow intrusive spying. Comey repeatedly cited catching bad guys during his talk, though he stated last week on CBS 60 Minutes that Americans shouldn't trust their government. He said, "I believe that Americans should be deeply skeptical of government power. You cannot trust people in power." That was his quote. But yet, he's saying that, nice, huh? Perhaps the bad guys are the government Comey works for. The FBI's super secretive data intercept technology unit was integral to crafting the PRISM program, which collected mass user data from major American communication companies like Facebook, Skype, Google, and Yahoo, and infuriated companies, citizens, and privacy groups. It was also the FBI that petitioned the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court to force Verizon to hand over user data. During his talk, Comey ironically lamented the loss of rule of law in America that apparently comes with Apple and Google's new strategy of going dark. It might be time to ask, where are we as a society? Are we no longer a country governed by the rule of law, where no one is above or beyond that law? Are we so mistrustful of government and of law enforcement that we are willing to let bad guys walk away? See, they're trying to use this scare everybody's a bad guy. You got to fear, fear, fear. See how they do this? By advocating even further intrusion of government agencies into the lives and privacy of Americans, this is exactly what FBI director is advocating. I mean, it's ridiculous, okay? I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous, and it's not going to stop. And it doesn't matter what they say; they've already got these back doors. Let me tell you something. Like was made on the comment to my friend's post. You know, if somebody had created it, there's somebody else that has already uncreated it. In other words, if you build a decryption, it does not matter how complicated and how deep that encryption goes. It does not matter. Somebody else has already designed a way to decrypt it, and there's a good chance that that way to decrypt it was designed before the way to encrypt it. Let me remind you that the radar detector was built before the radar. That is a fact. Go and look it up. That is a fact. So let's get on to the next story, and this has me questioning something. I remember all these animal lovers, right, busting windows out of cars and stuff because there was a dog locked in a hot car or whatever. I even remember stories as ridiculous as somebody went into like a gas station and they were just going in there and grabbing a soda or a pack of cigarettes or whatever. Their car's parked outside and they just ran in for that quick moment. They had their dog outside in the car, right? The car was running, the air conditioner was on, but somebody still thought it was necessary to bust the window out to get this dog in safety. Okay, it's ridiculous. It is. I mean, I'm not saying we should allow animal abuse or neglect or anything. Of course we shouldn't. Of course, I do think we need to worry about humans first. It seems like people just totally forgot about humans and we got to protect, save the whales, save the dogs, save the horses, save whatever, but forget humans. It makes no sense to me. I know some people would say, well, animals are defenseless and yeah. So as a person, when you make them homeless and they don't have any food or anything else, they're pretty defenseless, especially when we have laws that people can't feed a homeless person, or we have, laws saying they can't even forage in a public park. Come on, so they can't eat naturally, right? They can't go pick plants and eat plants or that. Nobody can feed them. They just have to starve to death, right? Just got to starve to death. We let our dog out. Well, back when I was with my family, we let our dog out to go to the bathroom. He had a water and a food bowl out there, but we never let him out. He was only ever out there long enough to go to the bathroom, unless we were actually setting outside in the backyard. Then we would tie him up back there while we were out there, and that's why he had a water and food bowl out there. And I remember getting a knock on the door from police because somebody was taking a walk, their health walk, and decided that they needed to call police because his water and food bowl were empty. And so the police harassed, interrupted, whatever you want to call it, us over this. It's ridiculous. It happened a second time, too, because he didn't have a dog house. Now, this dog was never outside for over about 5 minutes. He was an inside dog, and he's a big baby. He was a blonde lab. Beautiful, beautiful dog. And I sure do miss Flash. But, yeah, he was a beautiful dog, and it's just ridiculous. But yet, we can allow this. Watch this. A sickening video was uploaded to Facebook of an alleged Cleburne police officer calling a small dog towards him and then shooting it. The video appears to be the officer's body cam, which catches this gruesome act of animal cruelty. The person who uploaded the video, Daryl Nethery, claims that this was a Cleburne County police officer. We reached out to the CPD, and they did not confirm nor deny that one of their officers was the man in this video. Nethery said on his Facebook page that the CPD said the dog was being aggressive. I know the dogs personally, and I assure you they knew nothing about aggression. At the end of the video, you can hear the police radio chime in as the officer is apparently about to report the death of this dog. We do not know the events prior to this 22-second video, but from what we can see in the video, this was a seemingly not self-defense. This looks like a sadistic puppy side. And before I show you the video, I'll read the update. The family of the slain dog, Maximus, has started a support page for the dog called For Justice for Maximus. On the page, they have posted photos such as the one above, which shows the calm demeanor of this dog. And this was their statement, the CPD statement. The city is obviously concerned about the video showing an officer shooting a dog, as is often the case. The short video does not tell the whole story. Yeah. The officer was responding to a 911 call for assistance. 3 dogs had pinned some residents in a vehicle. 1 dog was secured without incident before the shooting. The officer was attempting to secure the other dogs until animal control arrived when 1 dog became aggressive. The city of Cleburne takes the safety of our residents, their pets, and our officers seriously. The incident is currently under review. The review will include interviews with witnesses and review of department policies. Once the review is concluded, any actions that may be warranted will be handled swiftly and appropriately. The Cleburne Police Department is seeking the public's help. If anyone observed this incident, please contact the Professional Standards Unit, and it gives the phone number. So let's watch this video, shall we? I'm actually going to bring it up a little bigger so you can actually see it. Hang on a second here. And this is ridiculous. You heard him. Let me rewind this, and you can hear him call the dog. You tell me if you hear the dog bark, if anything seems aggressive to you. I'm going to turn my mic off so you can hear the audio clearly. Turned it off a little faster than I intended. Okay, here you go. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to play that back again, but I want you to watch in particular the dog's demeanor. They were both wagging their tails and like, hey, how you doing? Not aggressive. Watch this. Pay attention. Now, how did they get that those animals were aggressive? I would love to know. They're wagging their tails. They're not even barking, not growling, not just like, hey, come pet me, you know? That was not aggressive. Where is PETA? Where are the animal lovers? Where's all the people that all run their mouth about busting people's windows out during the summer when dogs are in hot cars? Where are you when a cop shoots a dog? Where are you? This ain't the only incident. There's so many incidences. You could Google it, right? You could Google it. It's really, really easy. Cop shoot family dog. Enter. Right? I don't mean to sound condescending, but come on. We need to do something here. Let's get real. We need to do something. I mean, you will find, right? You will just find story after story after story. You won't stop finding stories of cops shooting family dogs, right? You will not stop. You will find hundreds of pages, I guarantee you. Look at this, 7,850,000 results. And I'm not saying that many dogs have been shot. Of course, a lot of these are going to be repeating stories and stuff. But wow. When is PETA or these animal lovers, so-called animal lovers, going, oh, that's right, they're not going to stand up to anybody meaningful? No. They're just going to stand up to people they can't see while they're sitting at home on their computer Wow. Ridiculous. Where's the outrage? That's what I want to know. Where is the outrage? That's what's frustrating to me. So many people have so much to say, except when it's something useful. Wow. And I don't mean to sound condescending, but it gets old after a while, all right? So, and if dogs aren't, bad enough, wow, when are we going to stop this? That's what I want to know. Go to my Facebook page, right? Go to the Watchman News Facebook page. Link is in the About tab. And you tell me when, hang on a minute, when we are going to put a stop to this. Sleeping 7-year-old girl shot in head during no-knock police raid on wrong home. Did you catch that? Sleeping 7-year-old girl, beautiful little girl here, shot in the head during a no-knock raid on the wrong home. Wow. Wow. Happened in Detroit, Michigan. And this happened last week, I do believe. And I'd seen this. Yeah, the story was posted October 14th. What can you say to that? What can you say to that? Let's watch this short video as it happened.
Yep, it is kind of quiet. Don't move. Don't move.
When's it going to stop? I know what it's going to take to stop. I don't know when. It's disgusting. In mere seconds, masked police officers stormed the porch and smashed the window of the neighbor's downstairs apartment. They immediately tossed in a concussion grenade and kicked down the door. An officer discharged his rifle, and an innocent little girl named Ayanna Stanley Jones was dead. Wow. I don't know if the story says why they had to arrest a wanted man. I'm looking to see. I'd read this story once before, but I don't remember if they say why he was. Okay. Officers were briefed that they'd be entering a quote-unquote, possible dope den, okay, in which the suspect might be armed and might even possess dangerous dogs. So all, trying to come up with excuses as to why they had to do that. Look, this has to stop. Why can't they put unmarked vehicles somewhere? Why can't they have police officers surveilling the place, and when the guy comes out, arrest him? Why go in the middle of the night and even take a chance? And they got the wrong guy. Well, not even got a guy, they got a little girl, but they got the wrong house. Well, whatever, apartment, whatever you want to call it. It's got to stop. When is it going to stop? I keep asking over and over. I just want to know when it's going to stop. They don't care. They don't care who they kill. 33 police officers fire 600 bullets into a car knowing it contained a hostage. You not riddle a vehicle with 600 shots by 33 people knowing there's an innocent person inside. An attorney for the family of Misty Holt Singh spoke out on Thursday asserting that Stockton police used unreasonable force in the July 16th incident in which they took the life of this 41-year-old mother of two. Holt Singh was taken hostage by robbers at the bank in West Stockton, California, in front of her 12-year-old daughter who was waiting for her in the car. Misty was crying, a witness told KOVR. She was saying her daughter was alone in the car. She said, "I don't want my daughter to see me coming out with you." And they said, "Don't worry, nothing is going to happen." And they took her anyway. Unfortunately, it was not only the robbers that Holt Singh needed to worry about. Holt Singh was in the vehicle as the three suspects led police on a high-speed chase which lasted for nearly an hour. The suspects reportedly fired over 100 rounds at officers during the 55-mile incident. 2 other women were taken hostage as well, but were either thrown or jumped from the vehicle as it was speeding from police. Both survived. The beloved wife and mother was ultimately shot at least 10 times, not by the suspects, but by the police, 33 of them, who fired 600 rounds into the vehicle despite knowledge that it contained a hostage. Holt Singh, as well as 2 of the 3 suspects, were killed in the barrage of bullets. The family attorney, Greg Bentley, said in a statement on Thursday that protocols for discriminate gunfire and described the 600 bullets shot into the suspect's vehicle as excessive and unreasonable force. The department has defended its officers, saying they were worried about the violence would escalate. According to Chief Jones, at least 10 bullets struck Misty, killing her, and that all 10 of those bullets were fired by police officers. Even if there hadn't been an innocent hostage, are police such awful marksmen that they require 600 rounds to take down 3 men? On what planet could this be considered reasonable? Jamie Ramos, 19, the sole surviving suspect, has been charged with her murder. The family of Holt Singh has not yet announced if they will file a lawsuit against the department. And look, this is a bad situation all around. But this is not a war zone. A war zone is the only place I know of to where you have, quote-unquote, acceptable losses, right? Because that's what they consider civilian casualties in a war. Acceptable losses. We shouldn't have acceptable losses on our streets. You know, if they would have just continued the chase, yeah, there's a chance that, they could have crashed into another vehicle. And, they knew there was an innocent person inside that vehicle. A hostage, no less. A hostage, no less. But they chose to riddle the car with 600 rounds. Wow. Wow. Pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous. I mean, again, I understand. Hey, look, if you don't have the courage to be a cop, don't be a cop. Right? Or if you have a control complex or an anger issue or anything like this, don't be a cop. Simple. I know there's not a lot of jobs out there, especially if you're not somehow geared towards the law enforcement or health field, because that's about the only 2 things that are really doing anything is healthcare or rights suppression. Oh, I mean law enforcement. Wow. When's it going to stop? When is it going to stop? Probably when we start worrying more about other human beings than we do our TV shows, our sports, our toys. Wow. And the good book talks about taking the mark of the beast. At this rate, you won't even have to do that. You already don't care about mankind. And I'm not talking to the people that listen to this show. If you listen to this show, you made it this far through, you're already awake. Maybe you need to take these comments and these thoughts and these questions and all that to other people that aren't awake. I know waking up people is a very, very hard thing to do. It just seems there's no hope. But we have to keep trying. If we don't keep trying, it's just going to get worse and worse. And who knows what the truth is behind Ebola? Who knows what the truth is behind the surveillance? Who knows the truth behind any of it? But this is one thing that we have to do from the ground up. So even if you get frustrated trying to wake people up, keep trying. Keep knocking on that door. That's what I got for you. I hopefully have a little better news, more detailed news for you tomorrow evening. Hopefully within the next couple of days I have a nice snazzy intro for the show. I will talk to you tomorrow night. May God bless you. May He be walk with you. Be one with your spirit. I do love you all. Even the ones that aren't awake. I wouldn't do this if I didn't. You have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.